ever stand over a putt absolutely convinced this is the one you're going to sink, only to watch it like veer ridiculously off course?
Happens to all of us.
It's like putting. It's this like mystical art that I will never, ever
Well,
understand.
you're not alone in feeling that way, but what if I told you there's this fascinating blend of like science and strategy that can totally transform how you putt?
Okay, now you've got my attention. So we're diving into this with PGA pro Henrik Jensch and this app I'm hearing about called Puttalyze. I've got some secrets, apparently.
Yeah, they do. It's all about understanding how your brain, your body, and the golf ball itself all work together out there on the green. And it starts with something Jensch calls the core putt.
Core putt. Okay, I like it already. What is that?
So picture this. You're lining up your putt, eyes locked on the hole.
Every single time.
Of course. Without even realizing it, that subtle act of like looking at your target, it's actually causing these tiny stretches in the ligaments in your neck.
Wait, really? My neck is doing work out there. I thought it was just there to, hold my head up.
Yeah, it's wild, right? Those ligaments are basically like your body's built-in level. Think of like a carpenter, you know, meticulously checking if a surface is perfectly horizontal. Well, your brain and your cerebellum specifically, which is the part that handles movement, picks up on those signals to kind of gauge how fast the green is and the incline.
So, like, before I even swing, my brain is already figuring out the green. That's kind of cool.
Exactly. Jensch's approach helps you use that ability. That's where the target point comes into play. It's all about where you're actually aiming in relation to the hole. And this is where things get a little bit strange.
Strange how?
Think about an uphill putt for a second. Logically, you'd aim directly at the hole.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
But Jensch says you actually want to aim past the hole beyond it.
Wait a second. Further uphill? Wouldn't that send the ball, like, flying past the hole?
Seems like it, right?
Yeah.
But gravity's working against you there, slowing it down. You got to give it that extra oomph by aiming further up.
So, like, I'm giving the ball a little boost to fight that uphill battle.
Yeah. Exactly. Downhill putts, you got to aim a bit short. Gravity's your friend there.
So it's all about using those forces to your advantage. This is blowing my mind. How am I supposed to judge that target point accurately every single time, though?
That's where the Puttalyze app comes in. Like having a putting coach right there in your pocket.
Hold on. Am I really going to be on the green with my phone out? People think I'm crazy.
No. It's a training tool. You use it to practice and build up those instincts.
So the more I use it, the better I'll get, even without having it out on the green.
Precisely. Like training wheels for putting.
I like it. Training wheels for putting.
And speaking of training, Jensch has some interesting thoughts on the putt itself. Specifically, what he calls the magic number 3.
Okay, magic number 3. Now I'm really interested. Tell me everything.
So this magic number 3, it's all about ball rotation. Jensch says that a ball rotation of 3 revolutions per second when it's going towards the hole. That's like the sweet spot.
3 revolutions per second? Okay, I'm not gonna lie, that sounds pretty difficult to judge when I'm out there trying to putt.
Yeah, you're not expected to be out there like measuring the spin on the ball with like a stopwatch or something.
Thank goodness for that.
It's more about developing like a feel for that right speed and that tempo with practice. Lots and lots of practice.
Okay, so you're saying it's less about the exact numbers and more about finding that sweet spot where the ball just like magically goes in the hole?
Right.
How do I practice that? How do I find that?
Well, Jensch actually recommends using a metronome when you're practicing.
A metronome? Really?
Think about it. Musicians use them all the time.
Yeah.
It helps them develop that timing and that rhythm. Putting's really not that different.
Huh. Okay, I never thought about it like that, but that's kind of cool. So I'm like tapping my foot along and trying to get the ball to match the beat. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about training your muscles and your brain to work together to get that nice, smooth, consistent putting stroke.
Yeah.
The more you practice with that rhythm in mind, the better you'll get.
It's like anything else in golf.
Right.
Practice, practice, practice. But now with a metronome, I like it. So we've got our core putt. We've got our magic number 3. Anything else Jensch recommends? I'm ready.
One more thing.
Uh-huh.
And this one might be the simplest one yet.
Yeah.
It's all about your head. You got to keep that head at a 90-degree angle through your whole putting stroke.
Hold on. A 90-degree angle. So I basically just keep my head totally still, like I'm staring at the ball.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
It's all about keeping your eyes aligned with where you want that ball to go.
So I shouldn't be trying to like lift my head up to watch the ball go in.
Exactly. That just throws everything off.
So no more peeking, I guess.
Nope. Keep your head still. Minimize those little mistakes that can really mess up your game.
It's like I'm trying to like force the ball in by looking up too soon.
I've been there. What's really cool, though, is how this ties back to the core putt we were talking about.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Remember those neck ligaments? The
Yeah.
ones that are telling your brain all about the green. Well, if you're moving your head, you're messing with that whole system.
So I need to keep everything still for my brain to get a clear picture?
Exactly. The more consistent you are with that, the better your putts will be.
It's really amazing how much goes into putting. I thought it was just like a little tap and hope for the best. But there's so much to think about.
It's true. But that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Absolutely. So much of it is mental too, isn't it? Like getting in the zone.
Definitely. And that's something anyone can work on.
So true. So we've covered a lot of ground here. What would you say is the most important thing for people to take away from all of this if they want to improve their putting?
It's a lot to remember. But it sounds like if you can master it, you're golden.
It's true. But it's not about being perfect. It's about taking those small steps and constantly trying to improve.
So where do we even start with all this? What's the first thing people should focus on?
Start with your body. Next time you're on the putting green, pay attention to like how your neck feels when you're lining up a putt.
Like actually try to feel that stretch. Yeah. That's your core putt kicking in. Your body's already trying to read the green before you even swing.
I like it. So I'm using my body's natural intelligence to up my putting game. Pretty cool. But then what?
That's where the Puttalyze app can be super helpful. Use that during practice to connect those feelings with actual targets.
So the app basically helps me translate what I'm feeling into a real putt.
Exactly. And don't forget that 90-degree head rule. Keep that head still. No more peeking.
My putting checklist is getting pretty long now. Feel the green, visualize the target, keep my head still. What about that magic number 3?
Find a rhythm that works for you. Use a metronome if you want. It's all about that consistency.
Wow, who knew there was so much to putting? This has been eye-opening.
Right. It's like all science.
It is, but it's also about trusting your gut and finding what works for you.
Right. 100%. You got to find that balance between the technical stuff and the feel.
This has been great. I feel like I could talk about putting all day now, but we're going to have to save it for another deep dive.
Sounds good to me.
So to wrap things up, we've learned a ton about the science and the strategy behind putting. Remember those key takeaways from Henrik Jensch? That core putt, the magic number 3, and that 90-degree head angle. Plus, we've got the Puttalyze app to help us practice and really take our putting to the next level.
It's all about finding what works best for you and putting in the time to practice.
Yeah, Mo.
And who knows, maybe you'll be sinking those clutch putts like a pro in no time.
I love it. Until next time, everybody, happy putting.